and now The Walking Dead, well, in real life. Let's talk more about that. Hey, what's up my fellow YouTubers? PCGamingDude here, and today we're going to be talking about another fake news topic. So, in today's topic, we're going to be talking about if woman comes out of grave and walks after being dead for 3 years. So, but obviously this is another fake news topic, so. But anyway, before we actually get started on this topic, please don't forget to subscribe to PCGamingDude for more videos every day. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to support PCGamingDude on Twitter and Instagram via the links provided down below. Alright. Oh, and don't forget to make sure that you share this video as well, because, trust me, if you believe that zombies are real, well, you might want to share this to your friends and just say this is all fake. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Alright. So, but anyway, there are some telltales of quote-unquote Walking Dead corpses in Indonesia, appear to have been inspired by the unusual funerary practices of the Toraja people of Sulawesi. Now, in case if you don't know what Sulawesi is, it's just like a Sulawesi, that is just a place in Indonesia, but anyway, so. I was just checking my Snapchat again. But anyway, so like I said, Sulawesi is just a place in Indonesia, in one of the biggest countries in the world, which is, like I said, Indonesia. And this is based on population, so just remember that. So anyway, the claim is Indonesian villagers perform a rite that brought back a dead woman back to life after 3 years in the grave. Well, as of obvious, zombies are not real. So, you know what this one would give? A false. So, but anyway, so here's the mid-origin. In mid-2017, an article published on the website Women's News, or wnews.world, gained authority among social media users thanks to its outlandish claim that an Indonesian woman deceased for 3 years not only returned to life and walked among the living, but was actually photographed doing so. So anyway, this was from Facebook, which the social media came from. It came from a person by the name of Lewis Harvey. And there we go, that is how the women got out of her grave for 3 years. And trust me, if you look at her, she's ugly. I mean, that is why I do not want to show you that picture. It's just too ugly for those younger people to actually watch my PCGamingDude videos. So that is why I will not publish that picture until I actually publish it as my thumbnail. So, but anyway, the text of the article makes reference to a special rite used by the locals to bring the corpse back to life. So anyway, all I'm going to say is quote-unquote from the source. Alright, so first quote, in Indonesia, in the town of Toraja, a woman leaves her grave after being dead for 3 years. Fortunately, this event was caught on camera and is the evidence of how this woman was resurrected after that much time. There is no doubt that this is a frightening and surprising fact. They say that in order to bring her back to life, a special rite is performed in the place of the woman's tomb, quote. The premise struck us as both preposterous and familiar, so we dug deeper and found many other versions, including one that was posted to the Snopes.com message board back in September of 2010. So anyway, I will pull that picture up in just a moment. Alright guys, so I had just found the picture online at Snopes.com, and well, guess what? Here is the actual picture from back in 2010. This indicates that, number one, this is definitely fake, because, well, guess what, this has already been seen before, so why would they just show it on again? But anyway, Snopes has even found an even older version posted on an Indonesian blog sometime back in November of 2009. Well, it included the writer's personal reminiscences around witnessing a quote-unquote walking corpse in his or her youth. Well, although the narrative suffers a bit due to machine translation. So I'm going to say all this, so we're going to start with quote, the story of a dead corpse has been around since time immemorial. Hundreds of years ago, it was said that there was a civil war in Toraja, namely the Toraja West, fought against the East Toraja people. In the battle, the West Toraja was defeated because most of them were killed, but at the time of going home, their entire corpse of the Toraja West was walking, while the East Toraja people, though only a few were killed, but they took the corpses of their dead brother. Then the war is considered a series. On the next offspring, the Toraja people often bury their corpses in, or by the way of the corpse, walking alone to the grave. The phenomenon of walking bodies that I myself have witnessed directly, the incident occurred around the year 1992. New grade 3 elementary. At that time in my village, there was a man named Ponverak whose mother died. Such as Toraja custom, the corpse is not directly buried, but still has to go through a customary procession of burial, signed solo. At that time, after bathing, the dead body of the mother is placed in bed in a special room before it is inserted into the coffin. On the third night, the whole family gathered to talk about how the funeral procession would take place. At that time, I sat on the porch of the house, understand the children so like to pace. But after the meeting is over, at around 10 p.m., suddenly there's a noise in the house where some mothers shout. Out of curiosity, I tried to look into the house, and the dead man was walking out to the room. Just catch me, and my friends screamed hysterically and ran down the stairs. I ran and got my dad hysterically scared. After that, I was taken home by my father, and I do not know what happened next. Quote. Alright, so anyway, common to every variant we've encountered are references to the Toraja region of South Sulawesi, which I mentioned is an island in Indonesia. If you ever tasted any of the earthy, subtle, spicy coffees imported from Sulawesi, odds are the beans were grown and hand-harvested in Toraja. Very, pretty cool fact, right? Nor is it a coincidence that virtually every travel guide offering information about the remote location spotlights certain quote-unquote peculiar, quote-unquote complex, and purportedly quote-unquote gruesome funerary practices found there. Practices that are indeed so unusual and elaborate that entire books have been written about them, and tourists flock to record them on their mobile devices. The more we've learned about these traditions, the more we became convinced that they were the inspiration for tales about Indonesia's so-called quote-unquote walking dead. It is unclear precisely how long the Toraja people, who descended from Austronesian speakers living in central Sulawesi, well before Europeans arrived in the 1500s, have inhabited the island. During the 1700s, the Toraja population was driven into the southern mountains, where the majority of them are still concentrated by another ethnic subgroup. The Buginese, although most Toraja now identify as Christian or Muslim, many still honor beliefs and customs handed down from their ancestors, beliefs and customs in which death takes center stage. Now, anthropologist Kelly Swayze described the Torajan's intimate, intricate relationship with the dead in a 2013 TED Talk entitled Life That Doesn't End with Death. So, quote, in Toraja, the most important social moments in people's lives, the focal points of social and cultural interaction, are not weddings or births or even family dinners, but funerals. So these funerals are characterized by elaborate rituals that tie people in a system of reciprocal death based on the amount of animals, pigs, chickens, and most importantly, water buffalo that are sacrificed and distributed in the name of the deceased. So this cultural complex surrounding death, the ritual enactment of the end of life, has made death the most visible and remarkable aspect of Toraja's landscape, lasting anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. Funeral ceremonies are a vacuous affair where commemorating someone who's died is not so much a private sadness, but more of a publicly shared transition, and it's a transition that's just as much about the identity of the living as it is about remembrance of the dead. However, in Toraja society, Swazi also explains that death is seen as a process and a lengthy process at that, rather than as a single event. So, anyway, I'm going to say, quote, "So where we see an unquestionable reality, death is an irrefutable biological condition. Torajans see the expired corporeal form as part of a larger social genesis. So again, the physical cessation of life is not the same as death. In fact, a member of society is only truly dead when the extended family can agree upon and marshal the resources necessary to hold a funeral ceremony that is considered appropriate in terms of resources for the status of the deceased. And this ceremony has to take place in front of the eyes of the whole community with everyone's participation." Quote. Alright, another quote. "Until the funeral ceremony, which can be held years after a person's physical death, the deceased is referred to as, quote unquote, to Bakala, a sick person, or to, quote unquote, to Mama, a person who is asleep, and they continue to be a member of the household. They are symbolically fed and cared for, and the family at this time will begin a number of ritual injunctions, which communicates to the wider community around them that one of their members is undergoing the transition from this life into the afternoon known as Pala." Quote. Alright, and the final quote, "So I know what some of you must be thinking right now. Is she really saying that these people live with the bodies of their dead relatives?" And that's exactly what I'm saying. Quote. Alright, a National Geographic video shot in 2016 provides brief glimpses into Toraja death and burial rites. One includes graphic scenes of animal sacrifice, so viewer discretion is advised on that video. However, I will leave that in the links provided down below for you to watch on your own. Well, of particular interest with regard to the quote-unquote Walking Dead tales we've investigated is the Manani ceremony, in which the mummified corpses of dead family members are exhumed, washed, reclothed, and walked through the center of town. Examples can be both in the latter half of the National Geographic video above, and this tourist video uploaded to YouTube in 2016, which will provide that second video in the description box below. Bringing our investigation full circle, Loyola University anthropology professor Kathleen Adams, who spent 2 years in Toraja observing the lives and culture of its people, confirmed in an interview with Loyola magazine that the quote-unquote Walking Dead stories represent a corrupted version of the truth. So anyway, quote, "What started happening, as best as I can piece together, was migrants who had moved to Jakarta and other parts of Indonesia, who were often second-generation migrants, were coming back," Adams says. "The city folk would want a picture next to their deceased relatives, and the images started circulating on Facebook. Toraja became suddenly international, associated with this idea of the Walking Dead and zombies." Quote. Now, do the deceased rise from their graves and walk in Toraja? Sawasi. Yes, but no, but not literally. Well, they do so only with the help of their family members, who continue to demonstrate their love and devotion long after the physical bodies of the loved ones have gone quiet. The photograph does not show an actual zombie. They're just probably doing it for Halloween or something. So, alright guys, hopefully I've explained to everything about the woman comes out of grave and walks after being dead for 3 years fake news topic. Hopefully I've made you learn something new. If you have another fake news topic you want me to talk about next Thursday, just let me know in the comments down below. Alright, also don't forget to subscribe to PCGamingDude for more videos every day. Like this video, and don't forget to support PCGamingDude on Twitter and Instagram via the links provided down below. Alright guys, that is it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time in another awesome video. Take care.